Great to see you. President Trump had a pretty busy day today, a couple speeches.
He sure did. And I really think I want to talk about Israel. But first, the amount of topics he was able to cover when it comes to trade, when he talked about the strike and the issues here. What was your biggest takeaway tonight in Iowa on this evening speech?
Well, I watched both of them, and President Trump is in his prime. I've been following President Trump since 2016. He is so comfortable with the people of this country, especially with the people of Iowa. The people of Iowa love him, and he reminded them all the great things he did for that state, whether it was helping make sure that ethanol had a strong support from the president, to helping the farmers, and the farmers were always with President Trump. They saw him taking on China, one of their biggest foes. And so he reminded the people of Iowa that he's been there for him, or for them. He has delivered for them. And frankly, he then expanded that out, talking about his recent trip to go talk to the auto workers in Michigan, reminding them of what's really at stake there when it comes to these these electric vehicles that will be the end of the American auto workforce. And so he's able to take sometimes complex issues and boil it down so that everybody understands it. Of course, he talked about our security. He talked about elections. He talked about Israel. He touched on everything in such a comfortable way with these people. And you could hear the crowd cheering and chanting. He's going to win big, and I think, frankly, Bianca, it's time for these other guys running in the primary to step back, realize that we're on the verge of losing our country, get behind the man you see on the screen, the strongest president we've ever had. Get behind him, support him, and let's save America.
Yeah, and it's remarkable. You talked about, him being in his prime. Let's not forget, he started this week in a Manhattan courtroom and spent 3 days there with a fraud trial that many say is just a complete witch hunt by Attorney General Letitia James. So to go from that now to in Iowa, like you said, 2 campaigns, obviously so much stamina there, and obviously so much that Americans want to hear from him. But today also taking a very sobering turn. As we know, Israel is at war tonight. And I want to get your reaction. Obviously, it happened overnight, but President Joe Biden didn't address the media till 2:30 Eastern time. And in fact, the first statement, Kari, was from the Office of Palestinian Affairs, and it called on Israel to refrain from violence and retaliatory attacks. The White House later said this was not an approved tweet. The fact, though, this messaging has gone out, coupled with the fact that Joe Biden just sent Iran unfroze $6 billion. We clearly have an administration that says it stands with Israel, but seems to be doing everything else to give Iran a different signal.
I'm absolutely embarrassed by Joe Biden. I call him brain dead Biden. He doesn't know what he's doing. Every action he has taken has put us on footing on a world stage that makes our allies more at risk, that puts us at risk with our wide open border, with the $6 billion given to Iran, which funded this Hamas attack, from his disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan that put $7 or $8 billion of top U.S. grade military equipment out there, potentially and most likely in the hands of our enemies. So Joe Biden has done more to destabilize America and the world, putting us all at risk with our border open. Who knows what, it's a matter of time before we see attacks inside of our own country. And I just pray every day that it doesn't go to that level. But what's happening in Israel is it's horrifying. I just saw a tweet from officials in Israel that the majority of the people kidnapped are young women. And they say the Hamas will be using rape as a weapon of war. It's absolutely horrifying. And I know that Israel will respond, and respond swiftly and harshly. And I really pray that they really wipe Hamas off the face of the earth.
Final thought there. You mentioned the border, and in Arizona, we saw this week that Biden says, well, I don't believe in walls, but yet we're going to do it because there was money there funding. I remember when Governor Ducey tried to put shipping containers up and was sued because they were just trying to put some semblance of security in your backyard. What was your take this week on the complete reversal and confusing messaging there? It sounded like they wanted to build the wall, but not say exactly, because they knew we were having an invasion.
Well, everyone realizes what's happening, Bianca, at our border. They see that it's wide open, and now they're feeling it in their cities. I mean, when you have the people of New York City, not the most conservative place in the world, as a matter of fact, it's quite liberal, saying we can't take this anymore. I believe that's why Biden is acting, and he's going to build, what, 20 miles? It's going to be a joke of a wall. Much like everything else he does and everything else he touches. And I think he wants to be able to say that he's building the wall. He wants to try to thwart what Governor Greg Abbott is finally doing to attempt to secure the border and protect the citizens of his state. And it's really outrageous when you think that we had $300 to $500 million worth of wall materials sitting on the border, that Joe Biden basically abandoned the building of the wall that President Trump was putting up rather quickly. And then he sold that material for $2 million. It's mind-boggling that he would do that. Now we have to purchase equipment again. Everything this man touches turns to, I can't use the word here, on your network, but I think you know what I'm talking about. It is time that we get behind President Trump. And I know that people who maybe didn't support him at the last election have to be looking at what's happening in the world and saying, you know, maybe I didn't support the guy, but I certainly was, my life was better. We were more prosperous. Our world was more secure. President Trump is a truth teller and a peacemaker. And the people who don't like him have been affected by the fake news spreading lies about him for 8 years. I don't know how much more we can take of this. I worry about our own security with this wide open border. And I pray that my fellow Americans will wake up to the nightmare that is the Democrat Party and Joe Biden. They don't have America's best interest at heart. And you can tell by the actions of Joe Biden and what we've seen over the past 2.5 years.
Kari, we know you want to take action over it as well. Tuesday is going to be a big day for you. We're going to be watching your announcement. Is there any tease you can give our viewers who are watching in anticipation?
Well, we have a big movement here in Arizona, and in the past year, it has spread across the country. And the people of this country want to have leaders in Washington, D.C., who will represent them and represent America First policies and solutions. And so we have an opportunity to pick up a Senate seat. And I've been really mulling it over and praying about it, talking to my family and supporters here in Arizona and around the country. And on Tuesday, I'm going to announce my plans and whether or not I'm going to be jumping in that race.
Kari Lake, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be watching you Tuesday as well. See you back here real soon.
Thank you, Bianca.
Thank you.